Is it sassifying?
Yes.
I think that's awesome. And literally just with some glue, and we'll glue these together.
Hey everyone, welcome back to drybonesgarage. This video is a part of a series where my dad and I take a 63 Corvair and turn it into a hot rod. In this particular episode, we discussed build options, worked on the taillights, and mounted the parking brakes.
I don't know how much I've gotten of the parking brake, but I'm at a loss for words.
That's the beginnings of the mount for it.
Yeah. Not the most beautiful.
That ain't bad.
It isn't?
Yeah, I'd put one right there though to fill that
There's
cut
a
up.
hole.
Yeah, there's a cut right there. Fill that, and then we'll just lemish that out. Did that do it? There's a little bit more there than I thought there was.
It scared me last time doing this with Dad around, and more so without him there.
If something bad happens, can you push me out of the way?
So I asked my sister Erin to make sure I didn't electrocute myself.
I have to figure out which is ground again. Did you see which one was brighter? The red one? Yeah, you're right. The red one.
All it took was a simple push to set the bulb into the brake light, but the taillight was a little more complex. I got it in there once I realized I needed to align the little nubs on the bulb to the divots in the light and screwed it in.
Yay! Black and white is ground, I think. Hooray. Ow.
Oh wow, they got fancy with these, didn't they?
What? What are those?
Machine screw set. I don't have a whole lot of machine screws, and because I don't have a lot of machine screws, they have zero organization. Okay, so I guess what we'll do is we'll actually bore these out big enough. Take these off. Just get in there with a rotary tool. I would probably use the Dremel because it's quieter and not as aggressive. Or you could maybe use the finger sander, the little belt sander, the skinny one with the finger, and just kind of, if you want to use the vise maybe to hold it still, you can kind of work these off. We'll take the gaskets off and literally just with some glue, and we'll glue these together.
Epoxy.
Yeah, and done is done. Although that might be right where we want that to set. Do we have an 1156?
What is 1156 and 7? What are these numbers?
An 1156 is a bulb that looks like this. but there's only the one element in it, the bright element. This is an 1157.
What's with the numbers though?
That's the designation, that's the bulb type. So we'll want to do the same with these. Though I don't know how deep we want to get into these with do we have a really busted up one of these, you know, a sacrificial lamb, so to speak? Do we have a particularly rough housing that's just kind of unsavable? Because we might only want these in so far or run the risk of burning up bulbs. How was that? I don't remember anymore. I think the reverse lights went straight in. So that really wouldn't make sense. The reverse lights probably are dropped. Okay. Looks like these are probably the reverse lights. So if we run this in and try and epoxy the bottom of this, the face of this plastic housing,
Yeah.
literally the flat of that flange to the flat of the housing, we're gonna have problems. So how are we gonna fix that? Besides slobbing a whole mountain of epoxy to the outside, which might be our answer. I'm not in love with that idea, but we'll have to just mount these. I guess that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. It's a little fiddly, but that still lands the bulb in a position where I don't expect it'll melt the, where's one of the lenses? That should work. I think we'll be okay with that. So it looks like we keep that flange. We just literally glue the flange to the outside of this housing.
So I don't have to drill holes?
Not for these. So these we can leave alone. What we'll want to do is we'll want to scuff up, take like some 40 grit,
Yeah.
and just kind of give us something that the epoxy will bite to. Clean those really well. And then these we're going to want to punch big enough. I think what we'll do is kind of the same. We'll just bore the hole big enough that we can get this in right up to these, I don't know what you would call those, but right up to these little bump outs that actually hold the, we'll call them threads, I guess. I'm
Nubbies.
sure there's a technical name. Yeah, the nubs.
Nubbies.
And we'll stop right there, just big enough to get this in, far enough to hit those, and that's where we'll stop with them. And that should make it so these don't project so far into the housing. Yeah, that should be about perfect. So that needs to get done on these. They need to get bored out. And then this all needs to get the same surface prep that those get. Absolutely clean and then roughed up, so that we've got both chemical and mechanical bonding going on. All right.
Okay. I hope y'all like red buttons.
It's supposed to be red anyways. It's what we ordered. Is it sassifying?
Yes.
I guess. Oh yeah. And here I am doing it after picking on you.
Well,
So the question is, do you want this sitting out exposed someplace, or do you want this hidden?
I don't know. I'd have to look at it in the car.
Where's the dash? Should we move the ignition switch? If we took the well, granted this is for the 64, but if we took the ignition switch out and moved it elsewhere, and then just put the start button.
Isn't that the same thing? The ignition and the engine start?
Yes and no. The ignition switch powers up the whole car as well as triggers the start cycle. But we could do like a slob and move your ignition switch down to the tunnel.
Like a slob.
Sob.
Oh.
Yeah, this one's kind of all caught up with the spaghetti. But if we move your ignition switch down, like right next to we could put a little something on the boot, your shifter boot. We'd build a boot with an ignition switch right in it, put the ignition switch in down there, turn it on to power the car up, and then just have your start button sitting right there. That might be kind of cool if we did that.
You think?
It'd be unique. I don't know, it's your call. Whatever you want to do, we can do. Do you want to have some fun with it, or do you want we can tuck it up someplace out of the way, out of sight, out of mind, where you have to push this and hit the ignition at the same time to actually make the car fire and run? But if we did put that in a hidden location, that's not something we want to be advertising all over God's creation. So if you want to put like some kind of a dead man in there. You like that idea, don't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll put the ignition someplace that's, a little less obtrusive, and then leave the starter button hanging right out in the open.
I think it's funny.
I think that's awesome. That should get a chuckle or 3.
Hopefully. I like it.
The problem is that's obvious if we do it. If we put the ignition switch, where is it? We were going to put the USB output for your phone
Yeah.
in here, but this actually isn't working so great. And the other problem with this is keys. If the car's key is on a ring, and we did this,
Yeah.
one, the cover doesn't come down, so we'd have to actually modify this, you know, recess it a little bit, which is no big deal. Just something we'd have to do additional. But if we put the ignition in there, it's coverable. Granted, any viewer that saw this channel or somebody, you know, a casual passerby might be able to see it. That said, it's shielded from beneath, from behind. If we set this up like this, you're going to have to take stuff apart to try stealing the car, despite the fact this is right here in the open.
Yeah.
Your ignition switch is pretty shielded, but that's keys flopping around and bouncing as the car's going down the road, unless all you have is the car key on that one separate, you know, and anybody with a tow bar can drag the car away because there's no steering wheel lock, manual. It'll be harder to steal because it's a 3-pedal car. This will make it a little tougher to drive away,
Yeah.
you know, if we did something like that. But still, anybody that, if they really want it, they're going to get it no matter what. But I wonder if we shouldn't do that. That, or we move it down here, like I said, and we'll build kind of a funky boot around the
Shifter?
shifter. Make a funky shift boot and then put the ignition down here and then leave this here. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
And it feels good to... I've got another starter button, but it takes about 15 pounds of force to actually actuate. Where this is, I don't even think that's a pound.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool. I don't know why, but that just... When I saw that, I was like, yeah, this is right. There you go. That's what you need. Seems to me, right about here, is about what we're going to want that. That can interfere. I don't like that. I think we're going to have to play with your parking brake a little bit to get it lined out where we need it, because that handle might just be interfering with the shifter right now, so we're going to want to try and push it either more vertical or more outboard towards the end of the handle. That's going to be a bit of a pickle. We got to pull the cables out of the brakes, the parking brake cables out, start anchoring these lines and laying things out. But I've not been looking forward to that for a while now. That said, I think we're going to route your curbside kind of ridiculous. There's a couple different ways we can skin this cat.
Don't you care about the cat's feelings?
Nope, this cat's dead. Ain't got no feelings. That is pretty much, I suppose we could go another 1/4 inch closer, so we might be able to just shim this out right there. We can kind of bring this cable over, but I think with what we've been discussing for a back seat, this might be exposed if we do this.
Yeah.
Unless we really pad the snot out of this, which wasn't necessarily on my agenda. That said, the carpet ends right about here, so we're going to have to do something back here. We could do that, and maybe just pull this tighter and do that when we're making the seat. Or we can pull this up and around the bulkhead and then bring them both down this side of the tunnel, something like this, and then into the bracket. There's no hiding that. We might be able to bury it in padding if we go over the hump.
Over the hump?
Go over the hump? Okay.
Like that?
No, it'll come more like this. We'll just kind of bring it straight in from this bulkhead, pin it down, probably right here, and then again right here.
Using one of those red nuts.
Yeah, we'll use some riv nuts and some clamps. We'll probably end up using the 1/4 inch because I got a mountain of them, but we're running out of screws that are appropriately sized. That said, we could probably run some of these stupid long ones and then just cut them off. Because I mean, I got more of those than I'll ever use probably, but I should order more. This concerns me though. I mean, it is
Really close. Oh.
really close.
Should we shorten up the... Can we shorten?
I've shortened the handle already. I can shorten it some more, but I don't think we want to go past something like this. I'm not sure how deep that latch gets inside the handle there, but we could nub it off another 2 inches. Cut it here, section it, bring that nose in, and then it would just kind of be pointing up. But really, this is probably all of it we have to use is this right. It's not really ergonomically shaped to be used the way it's being used. It was intended to be under here and pulled this way, not this way. So you're going to be reaching down here more on it to use it. It fits the car, and I was trying to reuse it as it was. I've already sectioned, I think, 1 inch or 2 out of this. We can take more out. I was thinking we might slice this, spread it, add a little wedge of material in, and just kind of push it away from the stick too. But then it's getting more into your foot space. I wanted this close to the stick, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking or what I was looking at. I thought this was going to end up a couple inches farther back than it did. And then I put it in and, hey, wait a minute. I know there was a reason I put it where I did. I think mostly it was clearance and ease of, it should be right about where your hand's going to fall to grab it. You know, if you're kind of in the car, you're going to have your stick here, your parking brake right here. So in theory, everything should be right at your fingertips, so to speak. And if you're pulling on it, you're probably going to be leaning over, so I left a little bit of that in. So, we're going to deal with this by probably cutting it and peeling it over, you think? Or do you want to just cut this shorter? Because I can cut that shorter if you want it shorter.
Cut it.
You want to split this and kind of push it over? Actually, we got to go that way with it. So we'll probably section it like here and then peel that. Or is that's bolted on the bottom, isn't it? So we got to section the bottom.
Should we try a bit of both?
Figure something out. You know what? Let's get the seat in here. We're talking theory without the seat. All right, hop in there. Put your hand to that. Keep in mind you're going to be sitting probably right about there. Awesome. Ha! I nailed it. So yeah, we could cut that back to probably here. I could have it terminate right here. Do that again. Reach for it again. So yeah, we could literally cut this back to here, which would eliminate the interference.
How are your fingers supposed to
Well, it was supposed to be like this. When it was under the column. So at one point in time it was hanging off the bottom of that column.
How do you park it? Do you just put it in back?
Put it in first or reverse. Pull this. Up. That's going to be the brakes are set. Granted, you're probably only going to get it about that far up when the brakes are fresh. If you get it that far.
This kind of hurts my back sitting like this.
With no padding in the car, it's a little rougher. Okay, so let's stub this puppy. Let's fix that. Once we've got that back in the car and we know things are kind of lining and jibing the way we want it to, we'll look at anchoring these down.
Which way do these go, man? The big, ooh. They're bouncy.
That way.
That way.
A couple episodes ago, I was having trouble crimping the terminals onto the wire.
I don't know how to do this without my thumb in the way.
But once I got the hang of it, it was actually kind of fun. What I once was avoiding was now something I didn't want to stop doing. It was satisfying to squeeze all the clamps down. I didn't squeeze the handle tight enough on a few of them, so those ended up getting stuck in the connector blocks. I asked Dad to help me get them free. I then had to recrimp those wires.
We got our brake cables lined out. If we can figure out what the heck happened to our block. It was on there when I was modifying your handle here. But yeah, we've got these lined out. We'll take the wheels off, drums off, pull the cables back, cut these right in here someplace, and slide the cables back in, make whatever adjustments we need to make, but these are going to be where they are. And then we'll start padding this and start building your seat bottoms. No, we can't do that yet. We have to build mounts for your seat back. We got to figure that out yet. And we need to decide what we're going to do with these. If you want that seat back to rest against this yet, I think we kind of have to. I don't know. We'll have to put that in here and see, because we're going to come up, I think, roughly 4 inches above the floor to get that set, and then build pads and boxes. We need to get that done yet. You've got your light sockets pinned. We need to actually put them into the weather packs. There's still quite a bit to do, but we're getting closer. A lot of the wiring's getting bit by bit. Things anchored down, figured out, lined out. We have to put in, we have to move your ignition switch. If we're going to put that starter button in the dash, we need to move your ignition switch. So we'll relocate that. We'll put your Bluetooth receiver somewhere close to that probably, and then we'll put in a socket for your USB, and we'll tuck that someplace where it's kind of obscure and out of the way, not necessarily staring anybody in the face. Kind of keep it as quiet and unobtrusive as possible. Hoorah! That looks pretty close. Okay, so now you grab that acid brush there and start mixing the crap together.
It feels like this stuff should have got like warmed up or something because it's stiff. Hello, where do I put this on the thingy? What do you think? No, I'm supposed to shove these in and just like do a little.
Shove it on in there.
Do a little.
Yep. Okay. That, once it's set up, should be more than adequate to hold everything together, okay? Masked one. Get a masked one. A masked one.
Oh, right. Yeah, sorry.
Scare me sometimes, kiddo.
I'm good at that.
Yes. Yes, you are.
I don't know how well this is sticking.
Well, that's why we have the extra stuff. It's kind of build up a certain amount of material and reinforcement around it.
I think some of I don't know if I told you this, but some of the bristles I think are getting loose and getting stuck in there.
Don't care. As long as that stuff is holding everything together, it's sturdy and sound. I don't care if the bristles are in there.
I thought we were going to use the other type of epoxy we were using.
What other type of epoxy?
Like ugly green stuff.
Oh, no.
After a lot of work off camera, Dad had me test the parking brake again. He made some adjustments from there until the lever felt natural in my hand. So that's about it, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then please press the like button down below and subscribe to see more of the build. Other than that, I hope you all enjoy your day, enjoy the rest of your week, and I'll see you next time. Bye. Bye!